Karma Kai. This is the story that I explained in Dark Game Chapter 7, where I replace someone who was sent to get information on me because I broke up with a white woman because I felt disrespected and she took it the wrong way, and she sent someone out to get me saying that I have no morals because I break girls' hearts. And there's some partial truth to that because I learned from my old thing that sometimes they don't give a shit about where you come from. Sometimes they don't care if you're in a struggle. How girls think is, I want it right now. That is literally what happens. And the story about this girl was, I had this almighty complex where people used to make fun of me for trying to get a girl's Instagram instead of actually trying to get her number, knowing damn well she's probably already with someone. It's a good way to see how she lives her life, see if she's worth it, what her personality is like, instead of get some randomly through a phone where you can get hacked and you can be talking to someone else and you don't even know it. So anyway, the great thing about this girl is I saw her at a time where I was heavily on trying to improve my personal hobbies, and I met her at a time where I was literally getting to know everyone. But she was fodder, you know. I didn't really take her too seriously because I saw a whole bunch of people with the same, you know, style, same personality as her, and it was kind of like bland, but I fucked with it because she actually had more character to her than I thought. So when I put her on standby for so long, what I did was I was texting so many girls, but I never expected to get with her. So I started texting her, and so we actually get into a really good conversation. And you know, I start talking to her about Naruto, My Hero Academia, all that shit, and it's alright. While on standby, I'm actually being lightweight thirsty for some other girl trying to mess with different strategies because there were so many different prizes that I was trying to get. At this time, I was training for Fanime 2019 because I had a really good lineup and they were heavily anticipating my next performance ever since I debuted in 18 with my style and shit like that. This is my first time actually cosplaying at Fanime, so there was a whole lot on my plate. So what she comes into play is why Fanime and the sleazeball between my ex was connected was she waited till they false accuse me. What happens is the person who my ex sent was texting me. So the person who my ex sent was a girl who I say in continuous videos is Lisa. So she texts me in replacement of Jordan, but it's not because I already knew she was trying to get information out of me. So what happened was this. After they false accused me, I tried to talk to Lisa and I tried to get her pants saying, oh, when you're gonna slide through, because what was happening is I was working hard, very hard on my strategies, but I was working even harder at my personal hobbies. So this was at a time where I could easily replace her. So I asked her when she was gonna slide through, and she gaslighted me saying, oh, I already knew you were trying to get in my pants, that sleazeball shit doesn't work on me, I'm gonna block you. And in my head I'm all like, oh, that makes a whole lot of sense because like literally I just got caught up with some people, literally barely made it out alive. It was only because I knew so many women is why I got out of that situation, is why I explained, oh, he did it the first year, these people are trying to make a running gag just to fuck with him. The reason why this all ties in and why it's so important is because that is why I believe Lisa's text message. When I told her, when you guys slide through, she responds, that's why you're retarded and lonely. Because you don't get, in my head, this is something my grandma would tell me, oh, you don't get any girl like that. That's not how you get out a woman. You do not do that, this and that. Yeah, I know that, but it was a different context because this is the new and improved me talking to her, advancing my game, literally making her laugh just like the BML provider. But at the end, I'm asking, okay, where you gonna get me? And here's what happens. He blocks me, and it was so fucking believable at the time because I felt so bad because at the time I had children and I almost got labeled a child molester. And so literally when she sent that text message, it smacked me and made me think about all my memories from junior high. Oh yeah, this happened a whole long time ago. Like, you still haven't changed. You know, this is what happens when you don't expand your mind. This is someone who reads books. This is someone who do this and that. And I'm like, no, fuck that. You know, I texted her Coolio immediately, even though I knew she was partially right. The fact that I knew I can get another one was when I was reading all that shit and I had Coolio already loaded, and so I just sent that right after she said, oh, you're retarded, lowly, this and that. So she sent a whole bunch of shit like, oh, I already knew you were trying to get my pants out, this and that, but the text message is hella long. And so I literally just put Coolio and just literally text that shit. But it still smacked me because at the time I was really considering the situation, considering like, yo, I gotta slow down with this bullshit. And it was a time where I got really, really cocky because I could prove I can get another one. And that's when, so what happens is Lisa takes me through a series of events after I know I can get another one. And the reason why this ties into karma is really, really, really important to the storyline and why Dark Game Chapter 7 is one of the most recognized chapters and why it is one of the most important parts of this story is when I told her I still have the perspective of, oh, I'm still gonna move on, but that was a good roast, is when they went haywire because they thought it was gonna ruin my reputation, but everybody already stood up for me saying, oh, he won. Yeah, but you know what? You know what was going on is when that happened, they started putting me up against a whole bunch of obstacles saying that you're not really a grown man, you were in special ed, you were in this and that. And it really, really sucked because I knew the exact opposite was happening. It was a situation where I was outnumbered, but I was never outmatched. So they tried to hit me with the moral shit like, oh, you don't have a relationship, none of you have last long. All these beta male providers were all trying to send me this message when I knew the whole time that they weren't getting pussy, and that the real reason why they're complaining is because they know that I wasn't gonna stick around if I wasn't gonna get none. So here's where karma comes into play. Karma comes into play right after I get out of Crunchyroll and I prove exponentially that I can get another one by not only improving in the personal hobby, but improving with my game as well. When I was Kizaru from One Piece, so when I get back and I get a whole bunch of phone numbers and I quit my job at Home Depot because the same people there were supporting Lisa's mentality, saying because what happened was I went on a couple of dates with another girl and I went on a couple of beta male dates and I didn't get what I wanted. So karma comes into play after they failed to cast me in this dream that it's better to be a gentleman than to be a sleazeball or to be a fucking douchebag, when really you have to do that as self-defense, as a form of self-respect. When they disrespect you, don't do that deliberately. I'm trying to let you know that right now. Okay, so what it is this. So karma comes in when I just feel like randomly texting someone, and so I just talk to her, and so we get this idea really, really, you know, start hanging out, and we actually get into a little relationship. So karma comes in place right after Lisa, and she has a banging body, her personality is on point, everything was surprising, and so I'm all like, oh fuck yes. So what happens is I met her at Level Up Expo, just like I met Lisa at Level Up Expo. So we have this idea that we're both gonna do a My Hero Academia cosplay, but it was gonna be a crossplay between Naruto characters and My Hero characters, and I was gonna be Shosuke. If you go watch my Level Up video 2020, I still was Shosuke. But what happened was karma couldn't make it because of the whole stupid ass gang stalking mentality of Lisa and her beta male simps always trying to follow me saying no, this, that. So what happens is this. Once I realized that I know what to do with the money now. Now that I have an actual girlfriend, I tell them, yo, we can get a hotel and we can get this collab shit done. But the problem with them is they're focusing on the sexual shit, like, oh, they're going to a hotel, of course we're gonna fuck. And I'm like, okay, no brainer. We're both adults, but at the same time, that's not the main focus. The main focus is I finally get someone to cooperate with me that doesn't treat me like a piece of meat and actually wants to do a collab with me. You know why? Because he has something that I used to do. What happened is he posted me in a story right after I had a good ass webcam call with her. It's just like, oh, this is a cool ass dude. And I'm like, I used to do that back when I was younger, but I understand now that that's a sign of being unsocial. But you know why I respected that? Is because that showed me that she was always gonna be on time and that she wasn't gonna fuck around. I don't care if she has a mental condition. It's the fact that she literally took this shit seriously enough to actually get this together. She gave me the character name of Shosuke. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, that pissed me off because I'm not that creative. I'm like, fuck, then literally. So she was gonna be Dekuto, and we literally had 5 months away from this, but towards the last 2 months, he couldn't take it anymore because it's like, this is what happens when you become Blue Trix's girlfriend. You have to deal with all the fucking hate. It's like, oh, well, you're dating a predator. He's not a fucking predator. Every fucking time I get a girlfriend, they have to go through this shit. They get a ton of hate mail and say, no, leave him alone, this and that. It was all happening when Karma was just kicking ass. I'm surprised he lasted for that long because when you're my girlfriend, you literally go through the utmost shit trying to defend someone who obviously has victories 9 times out of 10, but you try to say that one wasn't even a victory, but they came close to winning, was outweighing all the good shit he's done. He keeps on trying to say this over and over again, and so what happens is he gets hacked and he blocks my account. But I see her later on, and I realized that it was gonna keep happening. The more I was going to these fucking conventions, the more I was getting numbers. It wasn't even about if I can go in that, it's I shouldn't go. I like, because I still have to deal with crime breakers, I still have to deal with people who jump to conclusions after a hotel. And literally, if you go watch my other video, it's like, it was my goal to work on my personal hobby. Now I finally found a girl that's willing to share my personal hobby with me. And that is why I liked when she actually revealed that she was, you know, a little bit crazy. But that's why I loved her, because that promised me, because when I had that mentality, I don't mean this to diss anyone, but back when I used to do shit like that, is when I made sure I was on point, and I made sure I was on time. I was like, yes, I can trust you now. And it really, really, really hit me that we really hit it together, and I understood what she was going through, and she had the counsel. But the best thing about that is that literally nobody wanted to say Lisa was wrong. Nobody wanted to say, yo, stop, he's hot, he has multiple options. Of course he's gonna toss you to the side, not proving that with Karma. Karma was gonna be the replacement of Lisa, and that's why we never got it. And that was a big flaw within me going to Level Up Expo 2020. Was literally so fucking crazy, and I still put on a Shosuke, but we all agreed that if we would have brought Karma along, that shit would have been 10 times better. But this is something that I learned. I couldn't blame myself because I worked my way out of that situation, and they literally got caught up trying to bring me down. So this is the story of when you move on and you find something better, you have to fight for it. And literally, the worst part about this story was when I text her, oh, we can get a hotel, is when I stopped getting jobs. All about biases. And but the icing on the cake in this video of why I really have to say and what I learned the most, this shit with me and Carmen was, you know, I used to be suicidal because I couldn't get girls, and they're going through the same thing. I stopped because I realized that this isn't a territory that I need to go in because I've already surpassed it. I just can't, you know. Karma literally taught me a whole lot about the culture that I grew up in, which is the anime culture, which is why this shit is really tough and why I haven't got a job in so long. But it's because they don't want me to use the same tools again, so I can have a bond relationship like Karma that's gonna knock the generic, oh, I just want to get a relationship just to get your pants out the water. Now this is Karma Kai. I'm Blue Trix Video.